Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Tennessee Liquid. On today's episode, the darkness has fallen upon my studio. This is the first model of 2026 that I have done, and I chose to do a character made famous by Image Comics back in 1996. I know, back in the 1900s. I was 13 years old when this comic came out. And many years later, I have gotten the chance to paint this model. So without further ado, let's jump on into that video. Before we get started, I wanted to give a little shout out to the maker and the creator of this model. It comes to you painted by me by the Creative Geek. Now, for as low as $5 a month, you can help support him in all that he does. And you get a giant welcome pack and a model every month for as low as $5 a month. That's a steal. And over on CG Trader is where he's got all of his stuff. And if you like what you see here, just head on over to the Patreon and subscribe to him. And you can get a discount on over 150 models on this CG Trader website of all his models. And he has ranged from anything that you can think of, he has a model for. So if you like what you see here, head on over there, subscribe to him, and come back and buy some models and paint them just like I did. So with that being said, let's jump straight on into this model. To start off with, you need to get yourself a printer. The one I would recommend is a Uniformation GK2. That's what I printed these on. And after I got through printing them and curing them and cleaning them, I got around to putting little sticks in them so I can have them up to where I can get a hold of them easier. And then after you get your little sticks put on, then you can move on to putting your darkness primer on, also known as black primer. And through the power of showing you things after I did them, pow, you got primered parts, set up and ready to paint. So let's get to it. Jumping on into the base. The base had these worm things or tentacles or snakes. I don't really know what you call them, but whatever they are, they're coming out of the ground. And there's several different styles of them. Some of them are metal, some of them are not. And so all the pictures that I had of it, all of it was just kind of black. So I chose not to do just all black because that's boring. So on these, I tried several different color combinations and I finally settled on this one, which was a dark umber and a royal purple mixed together. And you don't want it too purple because it makes them look purple. So I just kind of mixed them together and started painting. And I went around and found the ones that kind of look fleshy. There's several, like I said, there's several different colors on there and textures. So I just picked the one out that kind of looked fleshy and painted it this color. Now the base was pretty big and pretty good sized, and these tentacle things was running everywhere. So it did take a few minutes to paint all this brown color that I have chosen. But when I got done with them, it looked pretty good. and they match perfectly with the ones that I have seen before. Well, I mean, I've never seen them before, but in my mind, this is what I pictured, and this is what I seen. Once you get those done, it's time to move on to the rest of the squid arm snake things. Now, there's a few of these on the body that just kind of look like maybe they had armor on. Maybe like scale plating or something. I don't know. Maybe they was soft worms and they needed protection. But they kind of look like they should be metal to me. So I took a dark silver and I just painted them pretty much solid dark silver. A little side note is if you've never used dark silver before, you always want to start with a black underneath, because black just gives a little darker base to the part. And if you do any other color, then the dark silver won't shine like you need to. And I used my brush just to kind of fan it, almost kind of like a dry brush. So you didn't actually paint it completely solid. So in between the cracks and the crevices and the nooks and crannies, you leave it black. So you get some of that black in behind it that shows through your dark silver, which makes it kind of look pretty cool. So you should give it a try. I think in total there was 3 of these snakes, and they're armor plated. And I don't know about you, I don't like to see snakes, and I definitely don't want to see one that's got armor plating on them, because they're a lot harder to kill. They're not easy to kill to start with, much less they had armor on. But I guess if I was out fighting crime and doing whatever, I guess if I was going to have a snake, I would want armor on him for that reason. Now there's one of these worms that just kind of stood out, and he's completely different than anything else on the model. Now this worm, he had a bone looking armor on his back, kind of like a turtle. So I thought it should be bone. So I started off with a white, and I brushed this on kind of like I dry brushed, and I wanted to leave some of the black in between the cracks of the places where it bends. And just a little side note, I said that this paint was white. It's not actually white, it's more of an off-white. So you don't want to use pure white, because it just makes it look funny when you go to add your other color to the top of it. Now when you get the back of him colored, you want to flip it over. And the bottom neath of this worm, I felt like it should be kind of a fleshy color. Kind of like a night crawler. You know, the ones you go fishing with and catch fish with, except this thing would probably catch the fish for you without a hook. But you want to paint this thing a skin color. I keep calling this dry brushing, but it's not actually dry brushing. It's wet brushing, if that makes sense. It's kind of like dry brushing, except you use more paint, and you still get the underneath, but you just don't paint it solid, if that makes sense. But anyway, after you get the color of the skin painted, you want to come back, and he's got teeth on the bottom of him. So paint these teeth the same white that you painted his turtle shell thing on the back of him. Now this is the rest of that worm, and you paint him the same way. And I'm going to speed up my video just a little bit just so I can show you me painting it all. But I actually don't paint this fast. And if a man could paint this fast, man, you would have a model done in 2 hours probably. But it took me a little longer than that. But according to this video, it only took me like 2 minutes. And if you noticed while I'm painting this, you want to leave some of the black that is laid down, kind of to give it a different look and a different texture to your bone color, because when you come back in just a second and put your skeleton horde over top of it, that's going to bring out some depth and make it look like bone. And after you get all that painted white, you wait till it dries pretty good. Then you want to come back with a skeleton horde. Now, skeleton horde is made by Citadel, and it's a thin paint. It's a contrast paint, so it's pretty thin, and it makes everything look dirty. It's a good for shadowing and shade, and good for dirty ropes, and apparently it's good for bone color. But I did have to come back and put 2 coats on this, but it makes it look really aged and really good. This is an awesome color, and if you don't have this in your color palette, you need to buy some, because you can use this on multiple models doing multiple things. It's a great color overall to do just about anything that needs to be dirtied or darkened just a little. And while that was drying, I flipped it over and painted the skin color on the bottom of the worm. And then I added a second coat to the skeleton horde, which made it turn out really good. And look how it turned out. It looks like real dirty bone. And then I went back and painted all the teeth and the little bone knob things that were sticking out of the side. And I painted his head and the teeth on the inside. And then when I got all that done, I took the skeleton horde and slapped it on everything. And it come out really good. Now with all that done, it's time to move on to the darkness himself. I started off spraying him with a flat green because he's a kind of a green color, and you just want to spray this all over him just to make him green. And after that's good and dry, you want to take a lighter green. Now this color, I don't know if you can still get this color or not. I think it came from an army painter set. I'm not really for sure, but if you can't, just take a lighter color green and spray it from top down, kind of like you would a zenithal over your part, just to give it just a little bit lighter color where the light would hit the most. Now setting that aside, you want to move on to the gloves. His gloves is a shiny chrome look, and I've been using this chrome paint from FusionFirm a few times now, and this stuff's pretty awesome. The only bad thing is this is a lacquer paint, so you will have to thin it with some paint thinner or something like that to clean your brush out. But your airbrush, it goes through your airbrush really super nice. But you just got to make sure you keep it stirred up inside your cup, or it will start to darken a little bit as the pigment sets towards the bottom of your can. But if you do that, this stuff comes out really shiny, and this stuff is just awesome. This is my new favorite chrome to go to so far right now. And after that dries, he had gold places in between some of the chrome places. I don't really know how to say that, but you just got to paint it gold. Now this gold come from the same company as the silver did, and this is still my favorite gold, but it is a little hard to paint on with the brush. It's really super thin and highly pigmented, so if it sets for any length of time, the pigments will start to sink to the bottom of your paint and it will start to become clear. So you have to keep this stuff stirred up in order to paint it with a brush. And sometimes you may have to come back and hit it again. But far as going through an airbrush, this stuff works awesome. Just like the chrome works good, this also works good. But with the brush, it still works good, but not as good as through an airbrush. And with all that rambling said, maybe you can make heads or tails out of it. Maybe you can't. I don't know. Maybe it'll make sense to you eventually. But if you use this paint, it will definitely make sense to you. Now moving back to the body, he had the same gold places as he did on his hands. Just remember to keep this gold stirred up before you go to do this. And with that said, I'm going to sit back and let you listen to a little bit of music and watch me paint. Now after you get your gold painted, there were some black tentacles from the base crawling up his leg. So I painted those black as well. And for the sake of time for this video, I've fast forwarded to when I was almost done with them. But you just take a black and paint them black to match your base. Moving on to his head now, and apparently when I was painting the skin tone and the rest of his face, I decided to paint it out of my camera's sight. I'm painting it right here, but you just can't see it, so you just have to take my word that I'm painting it. And oh look, I moved it back in so you can see what I'm doing now. Sorry for that, guys. Now the skin tone on this thing, I took a basic skin because this is the only part of skin that you can see on him. And I just sprayed it with a basic skin tone just slightly over the black just to give it enough color to show that it's skin. And then I went on and used that same silver as I used on his gloves to paint the mask around his face. And I still had to put a coat or two of this on, but it turned out good after a coat or two. And moving on to his eyes. If you don't like painting eyes, then this would be the good model for you because he doesn't really have eyes. He doesn't have eyes in the comic book. He just has yellow glowing eyes. So you want to start off painting them white, because behind your yellow you need a white to make them really super bright. And then I took a flat yellow and painted them yellow just to give them the yellow cast. And then after I got them done, I come back and painted them with a neon yellow because I wanted them to glow in the black light. And there are a few other things on this model that I painted with this same neon color because I wanted it to glow with the black light showing on it. And they come out really good. I really like using the fluorescent colors just because it gives a whole different look to your model, especially when you shine it under black light. And under the black light, it just looks like a really cool looking effect to get a glowing. And this works for any models. If you need something to glow and you don't want to print it clear, then paint it fluorescent and then put the black light on it. Moving on to the little demons and monsters that he had around his feet. Now, he had several different kinds of these monsters. I don't know the names of them. I'm not a demonologist. But he had several different kinds. And I felt like these should be a little darker, but not too dark. I wanted them different color than the base so they stand out just a little bit. So I painted them a mix between a gray and a black. And after I got them painted, they still didn't look right. So I felt like they might have needed to be a skin color maybe. Maybe like they wasn't wearing a shirt or something. I don't know. But I painted them a darker skin color, like a tanned flesh, very lightly, to give them kind of a skin color look. Now when I done this, it give them kind of a purplish cast to them, but I still think I left them like that because I still think it looked pretty good. Now for the rest of the little demon things that he had around his feet, I wanted these to be a brown color. I wanted these to be completely different than anything else kind of on the model. And I got to paint them a brown color and they kept looking familiar to me. And I couldn't place my finger on what they looked like, but I knew I had seen this awesome ugly little face somewhere before. And then over the Christmas holiday, I watched this movie because I feel like it's a Christmas movie. And then it hit me. I know where these little ugly things come from. And this Christmas movie, I consider it a Christmas movie, come out in 1984, the Gremlins movie. And if you ever seen it, you would know what I'm talking about. In honor of the movie, I decided to go back and paint these a green color. Now I took this green and sprayed it really lightly over the entire body, giving it kind of a green cast. And I think I like it a lot better than the brown. What do you think? So after I got those painted, I went back and decided that a lot of the demons and stuff, they had like bone on their head and the teeth and the nails on some of the demons. So I went back and painted them all a white color, kind of like I did the worm at the beginning of the video. And so I've just painted all these white, and apparently it was before I painted my head, which I've done showed you. But never mind, moving on from that. So just paint them all white to start off with. And apparently one of the little demons that I've been painting jumped off my table and onto my camera and just started messing everything up. So I just had to shoo him off of here. And I eventually got it figured out so I can move on with painting this model. Now if you remember from before painting the bone, you go back with Skeleton Horde and paint all the things that you just painted white. The heads, the teeth, everything, the fingernails, everything. And you just want to paint them all this skeleton horde, which gives them a nice brown looking color. And then when you get all that done, you go back and paint the eyes the exact same way with that fluorescent color like you did the darkness's eyes from before on his head. And then when you get all that done, you can call this model done. And here we are again at the end of another video. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I hope you've gotten a little bit of something out of this video so you can have some fun as well. And don't forget to like and share. And if you've not subscribed to my channel, you can do that right now with no extra charge to you and all your friends and family. So don't put it off any longer. Hit that button and help me get one more subscriber to my channel. And a massive thank you to all you that have stayed and watched my video. And to the ones that have subscribed, you are the reason that I do these videos, to help you along on your model painting journey. And as always, be kind and treat people the way you want to be treated. Until the next time, y'all come back now, you hear?